Welcome back, students of Standard 8. In the previous class, we had discussed about the types of compilation, that is ordinary compilation and Java compilation, and the difference between both the types of compilation. Along with, we had also discussed about the Java compiler and the Java interpreter. Today we are going to discuss about the library of Java, that is JRE, along with packages, classes, objects, data and functions. And then before that we will discuss about the Java C and JVM, a bit of it, a little more than what we had discussed in the previous class. Then the Java platform, then types of Java programs, and if time permits, we will begin with, we'll continue with this tokens in Java. Otherwise, the last topic, that is tokens in Java, will be continued in the next session. So let's begin the class today. The first one we are going to discuss is about Java C and JVM. As you know, that Java C is the compiler of Java and JVM is the interpreter of Java. That is the main difference between the two. So the basic difference between a compiler and interpreter, as you know, that compiler compiles the entire program at one time, okay, and then displays the error, whereas the interpreter, it checks line wise, means one part of the program at a time. Okay, so the compiler also displays the error of the whole program together after the compilation, and the interpreter, it displays the error, that is one after another. So if one part of the program is correct, it moves on to the next part of the program. Likewise, it checks the entire program one at a time, stepwise. Okay, so here JVM, I would like to tell you something a little more about this one, that is JVM. JVM is, as you know, the full form, that is Java Virtual Machine. All right, it's Java Virtual Machine. What exactly it is? This Java, what happens is, every system, every computer system has its own processor. Okay, so since it has its own processor, they are called physical processor. Like for example, when you buy the computers, you find these days the computers are of having the processors like i3, i5, i7 and all those things. Earlier we had a Pentium and so on and so forth. So today what happens is, we have this physical processors present in the computer. These physical processor, they basically are, their main function is conversion of high level language into the machine level language, and again vice versa. Okay, so that the process begins, calculation starts and ends in the computer as well. Here, this at present, most of the games, especially the game CDs, and they come along with what you call it as a virtual processor. Okay, as a virtual machine. So JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine. Now why do we say virtual? Virtual means which is unreal. Okay, here basically it is called, there's a term called pseudo. So it is a pseudo processor. It is called a pseudo processor. Now why it is called a pseudo processor? The reason is that it does not exist physically. JVM, Java Virtual Machine, does not exist physically. However, it exists logically over the underlying physical processor. Remember, it exists logically over the underlying physical processor. So what is its function then? It enhances the working system of the physical processor. Okay, so if a game's CD requires say another say 2 GB, and you have only say for example just a 2 GB you have, or a little less than this thing, the RAM capacity. So here what happens is the processor, if you have a virtual machine, that virtual machine enhances, say it has a capacity of another 2 say GB. So what happens, 2 plus 2, it adds over there and makes it as 4 GB. And that's how what happens, your game CD can then work in the system, in the computer. So these days most of the softwares are coming along with virtual machines. So here Java is also having an interpreter that is called a virtual machine. It is a logical processor that exists. It is a pseudo processor which exists logically over the underlying physical processor and enhances the working capacity of the physical processor. So that is the basic function of a JVM, or the Java virtual machine. Then we have a Java platform. So when we talk about, as I had already discussed about the platform, you know, the platform means it's a combination of system, software and hardware. So when we talk about Java platform is basically, it is the what you call the combination of application programming interface. Okay, so combination of application programming interface and JVM. So when you combine these two in Java, so what happens? Application programming interface and Java virtual machine together makes it what we call it as a Java platform. So API and JVM combine together to form what is called as Java platform. So how will you define Java platform? Java platform can be defined as the combination of Java API and that is Java virtual machine. Okay, so this is what exactly that we have. So application programming interface means, as I told you, it is a mode of using, okay, of interaction that is built up between the user and the system. So here what happens is this API, basically this is present in, that is the Java library. Okay, so we'll come down to that part and we will discuss about it. So this is what we have about the Java platform. So please remember, basically a platform means it is a combination of system software plus hardware, that is equals to a platform. So a platform basically refers to the combination of system software and hardware, whereas a Java platform means it is a combination of Java application programming interface and Java virtual machine. Okay, so this is the difference between the platform and the Java platform, ordinary platform and the Java platform. Okay, so move on to the next one, that is the types of Java programs. We have two types of Java programs. The first one is called Internet Applet, and the second one is known as standalone applications. Okay, internet applets, okay, and standalone applications. So they can also be termed as applets and applications. So you can also write applets and applications. Instead of writing internet applets, you can simply write applets. Instead of writing standalone application, you can also write applications. So the basic difference between these two, okay, there is a great difference between these two, that is applets and application. The first one is that application always require a class. Application always require a class for what we call coding, as well as for this one, for compilation. For coding means writing the program, and compilation, that is conversion, okay, into binary ones. Whereas internet applet, that is, or applets, does not require a what you call a class. The second difference is, okay, so applets does not require a class, whereas application always require a class for coding and compilation. So without a class, we cannot write the program. So we cannot expect the programs to be compiled. Then the next one is we have, that is this one. It is dependent on the browser. So an applet program, what happens, it is totally dependent on the browser. Without the browser, it cannot be executed. Okay, so dependent on browser for execution. Remember that. It is dependent on browser for execution, whereas application is platform independent. Java application is platform independent. So these are the basic difference between the Java applications and applets. So again, I am reading once again. Java applets does not require a class for coding. You have seen HTML programs, how we have been writing. We simply start with that is HTML head, body, that is title and body, and so on. Whereas in case of applications, Java program, whenever you write, you will always begin with a class. So it always require a class for coding and compilation. The second thing is, that is Java applets. Without a browser, it cannot work. So it always require a browser for execution. We know by default, when you save, what happens, it gets stored into Internet Internet Explorer. So you have an Explorer icon whenever you save HTML by using the extension name .html. Whereas a standalone application is platform independent. It can work on any given platform or any specific platform it can work on with. Okay, so these are the basic difference. Then we move on to the next one, that is the hierarchy. So let us understand the hierarchy in the library over here. So we begin with the first one, that is the JRE. JRE basically it stands for the Java library. Please remember this. There's something called JDK. Okay, JDK. JDK means Java Development Kit. Now this JDK stands for Java Development Kit, and it comes in various versions like JDK 1.3, JDK 3.3, JDK 3.5, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we are using the current version, that is around JDK 3 it is. So this Java Development Kit comprises of library of Java. There are various libraries of Java which are known as JRE. So JDK contains JRE, that is Java library. So JRE, full form of JRE is Java library. Remember, Java library. Okay, so JRE, it's made up of JRE there. This JRE, contains the application programming interface. I just told you about this application programming interface. It is an interface. That means it is a mode. It builds up the communication mode between the user and the system. That is the Java. Okay, the computer containing Java there. Then this API is made up of packages. Remember, API contains packages or a group of packages, right? And a single package is made up of classes. So a group of classes makes a package. Then classes are made up of objects. A group of objects makes up a single class. And an object, on the other hand, is made up of data as well as functions. So here what happens, as you know, that object comprises data and functions. So data here represents the characteristics, and the function refers to the behavior. So the data and functions, or the characteristics and behavior, okay, of an object is present in the class. These classes are present in the packages. These packages are present in the Java API as a mode of interaction, and thus they are in turn present in the Java library. So a library of Java is made up of packages and classes including objects that further contains data and functions. So for today we are going to discuss till here. In the next class, in the next session, I'm going to discuss about tokens in Java. A bit of it's a lengthy topic, so that we will take it as a separate topic in the next class. So I hope all of you are good, well, maintaining a good health during this pandemic, and of course going through the videos, trying to understand what exactly each topic is being discussed. Please remember, go through the book as well, but along with it, pay more attention on the videos, because as I said, I'll be teaching you something more which is beyond your beyond the scope of your book. But at the same time, it is important. It has to be understood, so that it builds up a chain link, and so you are able to understand the topics in a better way. So till then, take care all of you, and thanks for watching the videos. God bless each one of you.